Nityanila Prabhu Vishnupada Swami Srimad Bhakti Pragyamite Sarvaswami Maharaja Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Vishnupada Swami Srimad Bhakti Pragyamite Sarvaswami Maharaja Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Vishnupada Swami Srimad Bhakti Sarvaswami Maharaja Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Gurudeva Maharaja Ki Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Paramahamsa Srila Gurudeva Maharaja Ki Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Vishnupada Srila Sangeetananda Srila Bhaktivedanta Dhaam Ki Jai. Nityanila Prabhu Vishnu Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannatha Swami Maharaja Ki Jai. Bhaktivedanta Jagati Baladev Vidyapusan Prabhu Ki Jai. Rasacharya Srila Vishwanath Dhaam Ki Jai. Srila Narayana Srila Shravananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Gurudeva Swami Maharaja Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Swami Radha Swami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhadra Raghunath Jiva Gopala Bhadra Das Raghunath Swami Ki Jai. Swarup Damodara Ramana Nishi Gaura Prasana Vrinda Ki Jai. Namajarya Srila Hariraj Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Jai Kanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advai Gangadhar Srivasadi Sri Gaura Vrinda Ki Jai. Siyakali Mayapur Smatadi Gurudeva Bhagavad Gita Vedische Vedische Dhaam Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Prabhupada Prabhupada Sri Vrindavana Dhaam Ki Jai. Sri Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Jamna Ganga Doshi Devi Ki Jai. Sri Mati Paunama Sri Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Sri Kumeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Sri Yuda Devi Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudhasya Gurudev Ki Jai. Savamila Vilaskari Nasinga Bhagwan Ki Jai. Bhakta Pravar Sri Bhagavad Maharaj Ki Jai. Jalanhar Jalacharya Jalu Swami Rathari Ki Jai. Grantaraja Sri Jaiva Ki Jai. Grantaraja Sri Madhurabhagavatam Ki Jai. Sri Giridhari Gauyaman Ki Jai. Sri Rum Sanatan Gauyaman Ki Jai. Sri Sikhe Soni Gauyaman Ki Jai. Aurangabad Gauyaman Ananya Sagamat Samo Ki Jai. Sri International Society Krishna Consciousness Ki Jai. President of Buddhist Commission Ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Bhakti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Samajana Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Nai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Hari. Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Sri Guru Vaishnava Sri Sagrajata Sahajana Vidam Sajiva Sadvaitam Samadhum Brahmarijana Sahitam Krishna Jaiva Dharma Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahajana Sri Vishakam Srivasya Om Jnana Devinasya Jnananjana Saramaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namaha Vishnu Namaya Radhikaya Yamane Sri Sri Krishna Lila Bhakti Shilomani Sushmita Kaitanya Lila Namo Vishnu Padaya Sri Kesava Sri
Must have been a different
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Sri Mati Swami Namo Vishnu Acharya Singha Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Srimati Namaste Gauravani, Sri Murtaye Nikaharine, Rupa Sasi Namagaura Kishore, Sakyadranana Yamudaya, Vinadamba Sasamo, Nityananda Namastukyam Vimayananda Dayini Karokamasya Nasaya Janavakataya Namo Mahavanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishnaya Name Gurudeva Namo Ramanya Devaya Gopalya Gitaya Janitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Hey Sri Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Sri Gopalya Sri Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Someone wants to sing, then you can sing.
Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Read the first translation.
Yes.
Slowly, carefully.
The lotus feet of Sri Gurudeva are the treasure house of Sri unalloyed Prema Bhakti for Krishna. I very carefully worship and serve those lotus feet, Guru Padma. By his mercy, O brother, anyone can cross over this vast ocean of misery and attain the lotus feet of Sri Krishna.
When it says anyone, it means even you or me.
Yes.
By his mercy. We should never think we don't have the qualification. Gurudev used to say, don't think you don't have bhakti. What sort of guru am I if you don't have any bhakti?
Exactly.
This is what he would say. At the end of Kartik, he would remind us, we must celebrate what treasures we have received. Day by day, we must remember, when I'm seeing you all sitting here now, I'm getting such a flood of Gurudev's memories.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
and his gifts.
Oh, definitely.
So what did Gurudev's life was so pucker. He never transgressed for a millisecond. We were with him so many times, just for 1 second did he say, just let me chill out for a while, you know, give me 5 something? Never. Not 1 second off the stage, just 24/7 for us, showing us, giving us a stamp in our heart for life. So we should never think for half a minute that Gurudev has gone. Actually, I consider that Gurudev is much, much more personally present than he was present when he was present, when he was here. That's what, you know, he was such a powerful personality.
Oh, definitely.
If he's lodged somewhere, something in our hearts, you know.
It's there.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. So, but it's saying, worship these lotus feet with great care.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Oh, we should be very careful that not to commit any offenses towards the Vaishnavas, towards him.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's not easy. Is it?
Oh, it's not easy.
It seems like every second word is, oh, well, what's he doing? And what's he doing? And we know what the offenses are.
Yeah.
We know that to blaspheme the devotees is the first offense. And yet, it doesn't take much to, you know, start on a roll. Well, this one we don't like, and this one we don't like, and this one, you know.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because we are addicted to it. We enjoy this blasphemy. We we are always trying to find faults in another person. So we could point the finger out. You are like this. Just like, they forget that.
No, listen.
They forget that, that when they were born, they weren't born like Mahabhagavats, they were conditioned souls and they were doing all kind of sinful activities. And due to false pride, just like I heard in one lecture, I see many people chanting one leg, but I see their false pride is getting bigger and bigger. Just like,
He's
what are
thinking
you?
about somebody when he's saying this.
He-
Don't say anymore.
No, I've seen many.
No. But listen.
I've seen many growing in this
Listen.
false pride, that they have become greater and better than another person. So I see that also. I am nothing. I know.
I'm more nothing than you.
No, I'm more nothing than
I'm
you.
more nothing.
I remember you said that you went to Gurudev. You said, Gurudev, I have so much prestige.
That's right.
And Gurudev grabbed you and said,
Yes, he
I
did.
have more prestige than you.
Yes, he did. But understand this age of Kali, where we are living now. Kalir dosha nidhi rajan. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of false. Kalir dosha nidhi rajan. Asti hyeko mahan guna. But there is one amazing quality. Kirtanam eva krishnasya. Mukta sangha parampraja. That this kirtan of the holy name. And if we regularly are blessed with association where we can perform that kirtan, then we should take it with two hands, and thank Guru for this. Gurudev, he wanted us to go forward.
Definitely.
He laid the foundation for us to progress. So what is the progress that he wants? Where does he want us to go? Yes, good qualities, not criticizing, this is something. But where did our Gurudev want us to go? It was very specific. Like Prabhupada came to give the jewel of preaching to the world. He came to give this impression. Srila Bhakti Maharaj is coming to give respect for Vaishnavas. He is always glorifying Vaishnavas. But Srila Gurudev, what did he give? He gave the path of Rag Marg. Without this path of Rag Marg, Mahaprabhu's instructions are not blossoming. They're not manifesting. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has written that Bhakti Ras is the function of Krishna Bhakti when it is absolutely pure. Should I have the microphone or you?
Well, I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you, but there's one thing that I would say.
That's
You have said it. Gurudev has said, Guru Kripa Bina Nahi Koi Sadhan. That without the mercy, without the power or empowerment of Gurudev, nobody can do any sadhan. Okay? I think a lot of us are forgetting that they think that, I am chanting like this, I am doing kirtan. I always remind them that, no, remember that when Gurudev wasn't present in your life, what kind of life you had. At the time that the pure devotee manifests in your life changes. So that power comes from the pure devotee. It's not your strength. It's every day you practice your sadhan, it's Gurudev's strength. But due to false pride, we like to enjoy that. I am doing, just like people are chanting like 2 legs, they put on the Facebook, I am chanting 2 legs. Great. I admire these great people, no doubt about it. But they shouldn't point the fingers out, that, oh, you're nothing.
Read the next one.
Yeah.
We should be recording.
This is my punishment for speaking too much.
Read it slowly, carefully.
Yes. The words emanating from the lotus mouth of Sri Gurudev should be embraced within the heart. No aspiration beyond this world should enter, because his instruction bring one to the highest goal, rati, or attachment, for his lotus feet. By his grace, all of our desires for spiritual perfection are fulfilled.
So Gurudev said repeatedly that Guru Nishtha is the backbone of our sudden bhajan. Without this nishta, you sure you want to give it to me?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
But you can still speak loudly.
Oh, definitely. My
Yeah,
voice
but
is like I'm born with a microphone, so
Okay.
in my throat.
Okay.
But he has a bigger microphone.
So when we repeat his words, we repeat his instructions, we try to remember collectively the teachings he gave us. He gave such a spectrum of teachings. Is there a single topic that yeah. That's good. I was thinking so many different things we could speak together tonight. For example, Bhagavatam is our principal jewel where Gurudev took us. If we neglect or we don't make this Bhagavatam more prominent in our lives each day, it has to be. Krishna Swadadamo Bhajite Dharma Janati Saha Kolona Sati Sham Isha Purana Kodunodita. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun. It has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode. I don't know your name. Behind you. Yeah. Pretty Dasi. Ah, very nice. Who is your Gurudev? Ah, my sister. Okay. I didn't meet you before. Very nice. Huh?
Yes.
Ah, I don't remember. Okay. Maybe it'll come to me in a minute. So glorification of Bhagavatam is completely fulfilling Gurudev's desire. When our desires, I, me, and mine, can become purified, what is the dimension of the spiritual reality, the spiritual world? It's all attraction to Krishna and nothing else. This is the perverted reflection of that spiritual kingdom, where everything is focused on me, I, and mine. Bhaktivedanta Thakur takes us through this step by step very clearly. So how to purify this monumental desire for me to be the hero, for me to be the one in the center? By replacing all of Krishna's pastimes with our own desires, by moving our own desire. But how easy is that to do? It's very difficult to do. It's not easy. And we cannot do it. We cannot move a single foot forward, as you said, without the mercy of Guru. So how to get Guru's mercy? Banu, how can you say we get Gurudev's mercy? Just how in your life are you feeling that you're directly, we can have a testing point of the anand that we might experience from time to time. From time to time, some spiritual joy, and we know what that joy, what it means, that special pleasure will actually come in the heart. So this is like the checklist, so to speak. If that joy is kind of like you're doing a potluck program or something, you're inviting people like this and you're seeing people come to Krishna consciousness just to test it. This is making Gurudev very, very happy. So many activities of this nature. You agree? But like that, we have to know the route. We have to know which buttons.
Glorifying Krishna and Radha, the divine couple. And, well, Gurudev, when I first was initiated, I asked Gurudev, what does it mean now that I'm initiated? What am I supposed to do? And he said, tell your friends and family all about Krishna. Whatever you know, just tell about Krishna. Just tell about Krishna. Just share it.
That's what she does, right? I see lots of pictures of her with the family telling all about Krishna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And take care of
and take care. Yeah. But we have to connect solidly, separately from this Mayic, temporary, illusory world, which is going to be filled with so many distractions until we leave our bodies. It's never going to cease. Gurudev told us repeatedly, our various sufferings are like the waves in the ocean. You think you've just overcome one and then another will come. So this tatenu kampam susamikshimana, this must be prominent in the consciousness, that we understand these waves are temporary. And then, as we get a little older in our practices, we should be searching significantly for that eternal place, that place of the soul. And that can be accessed through our, like you're saying, our sadhana. And it can only be a confidential thing. If it's been expressed for, as you were describing, for some kind of external, adoration, then we're still in material consciousness. Gurudev has said, if we have the slightest desire for material pleasure, how can we possibly enter this world of rasa? How is it possible? Because it's such a total contradiction. It's a complete contradiction, but yet we still flop into it. Because, like you said, of offenses. It's these offenses we have to be careful of. But what is even more powerful than controlling our offenses is actually direct remembrances of Radha and Krishna. We shouldn't dwell on the anartha nivriti. It should be the artha pravriti. Yes, this is the truth. We should be looking for the wealth and appreciating with gratitude Gurudev's gifts. Read the next verse. Can you do that, microphone?
Oh, definitely. He gives me the gift of transcendental vision and enlightens my heart with divine knowledge. Divya Gyan Hirde Prokasita. He is my master, birth after birth. From him emanates prema bhakti, divine loving devotion, by which ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scripture sing of his character.
Read the last verse.
Sri Gurudev is the ocean of mercy, the greatest friend of the shelterless, the life and soul of everyone. O Master, be merciful. Alas, O Gurudev, give me the shade of your lotus feet. At your feet I have surrendered. Now your fame shall be spread all over the three worlds.
If I can become a devotee in this life, or even something shadow of a devotee, or shadow of a devotee, even if we become a little bit devotional. Devotional means that I'm genuinely attracted to Radha and Krishna. If I'm genuinely attracted to Radha and Krishna, I'll just drop this attraction to the Mayic energy.
Yeah.
And if that manifests even remotely, then this is all Gurudev's mercy. Every single thing. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada used to say the same thing again and again and again, that if there's any credit anywhere, it always has to be offered. We would see the example of our Gurudevs speaking about their Gurudevs, like Prabhupada, when he would speak about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He would be choking up. He would speak with such reverence, with such prayer, like Srila Bhakti Rakshakshita Maharaj, when he wrote those beautiful prayers that we sing every day in the temple to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And our Gurudev, when he would speak about Srila Bhakti Vriddhana Keshav Maharaj, so many times he would be choking up with this. And initially, we don't appreciate how much they're actually giving us. But as we start to genuinely move along this path, and revelations even are gifted to us, we should understand at every single step, at every single second, that all is Gurudev's mercy from top to bottom.
Yeah.
If we remember this constantly, then surely we will have strength to navigate through this very tricky situation of my material desires being purified, because this is the rubbing together.
Yes.
We have more desires in this body than we can ever fulfill in one life. And it's rubbing against this understanding that I only have limited time to fulfill them all. So it's creating a fire, this davanala, this fire, davagni, of that we're blazing in, this forest fire.
That's why I like to remember. I said, I don't want to remember like hundreds of sloks. I want to remember only this line. Guru Kripa Bina Nahi Koi Sadhan Ba. I want to remember this. Then don't forget that it is you who's doing this. Because these are transcendental songs written by pure devotees with the bhava expression there, right? So it is Guru's mercy that I'm able to, trying to sing it in a melodic way, and praying to have the bhava that is hidden within it. So it is Gurudev's mercy, and a lot of.
Gurudev used to say many times when we consider these bhajans that we should try and enter the heart of the person from where his bhajan has manifested. This is Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur is teaching us basically about Lalasamayi, about this transcendental greed. All his songs, when will Gauranga become manifest? There's so many bhajans that Narottam Das is actually gifting to us. So with that mood, we try to remember. But Guru is one. All of the Guru Vargya, they're all lining up behind our Gurudev.
Yeah.
It's just the same voice that is actually manifesting. So we should always appreciate that. And there's no controversy. There's no, my Guru, your Guru, this, that.
That's a material conception again, when it becomes mine and yours.
Of course.
But you are my God brother.
Raghava, you want to sing something? Mahaprabhu, Gauranga.
Can I?
Whatever you like.
Whatever you wish. Yes.
No, you sing so many
Mahaprabhu.
beautiful songs.
Oh no, not really.
Something for Mahaprabhu.
Thank you.
Whichever you choose.
Gauranga Bolita. Hare Krishna. Can I play?
Oh, yes.
I don't wear my glasses these days.
Did you notice I never wear glasses now? I can read without my specs.
Yeah.
No contact, nothing. A miracle happened.
But you have your specs. I have seen you wearing.
I don't use them anymore.
Oh.
Something happened.
Something happened.
And now I can read even on medicine bottles, the little writing, without glasses. And I don't know why.
System reset.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
Gauranga Bolite Have Pura Pasarira Hari Hari Bolite Yane Bame
Gauranga Bolite Have Pura Pasarira Hari Bolite Yane Bame
Maybe the translation?
Yes, please. You got enough puff?
Hmm?
You have enough puff to read?
Yeah. Funny. When will that time come that my hairs will stand on end upon singing the name Gauranga? When will my eyes overflow with tears as I chant the holy names of Hari Hari?
This is the mood of Narottam Das, the last Samayi, this mood of longing. So why are our hairs not standing on end after 30, 40 years of chanting? Why are these not symptoms not manifesting in our hearts? Why is not happening this way? We have to consider, we have to appreciate that, as we've already spoken, we're making so many offenses day by day. We have to be careful. The sun of praying cannot rise when the enthusiasm is not really focused. If my enthusiasm is still more concerned with my material well-being, with my material, of course, we must be materially situated, not, we say, living, just on the street, etc. We have to maintain our situations, but we should be somewhat reducing our desires for this area. We're not going to make a material success of our lives. This should not be our focus. Actually, Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he said, it's almost a disqualification to be materially successful because it's bound to distract us from our real purpose. We only have one life in this body. It's not a lot of time, genuinely. So when will that time come when my hairs will stand on end? When I kind of drop everything else? It's a wonderful feeling. Even sometimes just to do it. Even just sometimes to have it mentally there. You've done it so much in the past when you were brahmachari. You told me your story. You were just red hot running for it, So we have to go back to that state. Remember that state and not take anything too seriously, in this material. Huh? Just keep it always some space between us and this material situation, always. And what is the process for this space? Is chanting Hare Krishna. The more we chant, the less time we have to actually indulge our senses. And as a result of the chanting, the material desires go down. When the material desires go down, then we don't have to work so hard. So then automatically it's built-in process. Krishna will give us more and more time to actually associate with Nam. If you go to Braj and you go to Varshana, there's many sadhus chanting there in different places, and all of them, just as Srila Gurudeva would say, everything is in Nam. Everything that we act, that the heart, that the treasure of satisfaction of the heart is in Nam. This is there, in Nam, if we can take this seriously. But not just tonight or tomorrow, we have to sustain it. This is what we're thinking about now. Because we've been around long enough. We're only thinking how to sustain. Maintain. How to maintain this special state of consciousness. Krishna will give us little drops. Guru will give us little drops. Gradually, these little drops will build into a lake that will overflow. And then the hairs will stand on end. But we can't retain these drops when there's holes made by offenses. They drop out. I mean, this is the reason for, what's the second?
What if there's a tsunami?
That's like when Gurudev comes. When Gurudev comes, when Gurudev is present, there is a tsunami, and we rise up to that. But then, as we did for 20 years with Gurudev, we rose up to, accommodate that in our consciousnesses, that place of special focus. But now he's left, and all kinds of different things happen in the Sangha, etc., etc. So don't be so concerned for Sangha. Personally, I don't think that is going to reap success after Gurudev. They say when the Mahabhagavat is in charge of a society, an institution, then it has some value. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, if there's no Mahabhagavat, it's no better than a society of drunks. He said it, Bhutana essay, yes. Directly he said like that. So we shouldn't be too concerned with what everybody else is doing or how they're moving along, etc. If there's 3 or 4 people that can come together and have nice kirtan, Srila Bhakti Rakshakshira Maharaj has said that's enough. And if at some time some other effulgent acharya comes and unites the sanghas, etc., like that, that is blissful. But in the meantime, we have to keep going. In the meantime, we have to, keep that progress. Without that progress, then I'm just going backward. It's like cycling up a hill, when you get the steam up to go up the hill, but as soon as you stop, you only go one way. You don't maintain it. You start rolling backwards. What's the next verse?
And when will the moon of Nityananda Prabhu bestow his mercy on me? When will my material desires become small and insignificant?
When? We have to sight the enemy. We have to know what it is. What is my material desire? We have to know it honestly and truthfully. It takes courage, doesn't it, as a devotee?
Yeah.
We have to genuinely look in the mirror and say, hey,
Gotta be honest.
Absolutely. If there's any deviation from that, we
can't progress.
No. So we have to find what it is that is impeding my ability to spend more time with Nam. Because Nam is Krishna. Namna Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Krishna is directly Nam. Why should I not associate with him more? What is the impediment? What is the obstacle that's stopping me there? It's not time.
I think one should not fool himself to imagine that you're on a different level than where you're really at. You can only move from where you are. Or if you imagine that you're somewhere else, then it will never work. I mean, you have to be honest to yourself that I am right now. This is
yes,
my
but
position.
if I'm feeling that I'm this fallen, it doesn't mean, yes, I'm very honest considering my level, but I should be also looking to rise above that level. It's not that, I'm complacent about the level I'm at. We shouldn't feel disheartened. What was the thing that Gurudev spoke the most the most, or don't be hopeless. Don't be hopeless. He said it again and again and again. Don't become hopeless. I know what hopeless means. It's like really when you just can't get it together. And you're just feeling like,
depressed.
yeah, all those things, they come rolling over you. This is what it means to be hopeless. And he counseled us, he taught us, he trained us, he inspired us not to allow. When I was living in Govardhan just now for a long time, I felt Manasi Ganga Devi. She came to me one day and she said, "You're not allowed to have the blues here."
Yeah.
You understand what that means?
I brought the guitar. That's my favorite.
No, but you're not allowed, not to go this self-indulgent, in your own swamp of self-identification.
Pity.
Yeah, we all go there at different times, but actually, in the company of devotees, we can actually go to Vrindavan, we can go to Navadvip, we can go to Puri, we can go to all these wonderful places, because now we're talking about Gauranga Mahaprabhu. This song is in glorification of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Who is Gauranga Mahaprabhu? What was Gurudev's flag? What was the verse? We all say together. Anapita chirim chirat karunai bharatino kalo samarabhaitam unnata ujjvala rasam sva bhakti shriya hari purata sundaratuti kadamba santipita sada kardare kandare spratu vasachinandana. Well said, Ashok. No, he said it the loudest.
Okay.
Oh. Raghav.
No.
She wants
No,
to...
I knew you were going to ask me.
So you did your homework before you came?
Yeah, almost.
Everywhere I have to go. Because we have to say this again and again and again. Anapita chirim chirat. This chirim chirat means not for a long, long time has this truth manifested. What truth? The truth of Krishna's real reason for descending. The truth about his pastimes. Krishna was on the planet 5,000 years ago. And he performed Rasa Lila. He performed amazing pastimes with the gopis. But who knew about those pastimes? Who understood? The Dwarkavasis, the Mathuravasis, they thought Krishna was God.
Yes.
They all have that vision. Aishwarya, they knew Krishna was God. They had that mood. But the Brijavasis only knew that Krishna wasn't God. He was their relative in all kinds of different relationships. And the gopis, they knew he was their lover. So, how could the world know how beautiful Krishna was? So what's the analogy that we often speak?
Sugar wants to taste its own sweetness.
I am so happy to hear you say that. Because really and truly, this just makes the whole picture so clear.
It makes it very clear.
It does, doesn't it? And Gurudev gave this example, that the sugar wants to taste itself. Everyone is flopping around tasting the sweetness of sugar. But what about the sugar itself? It wants to taste it. Sugar is very green. Krishna cannot taste Mahabhav, Rudha and Adi Rudha, Madan and Mohan. He cannot taste that. That's only Radha's property. Why? Because she's receiving the sweetness of Krishna's love. Receiving the sweetness of Krishna's love gives her a higher joy and anand, pleasure, than Krishna can receive.
You said
How
three.
amazing. It's amazing that Krishna should do like
You
that.
said three moods: Mohan, Madan, and Madan.
No. I said Mohan, I said Madan and Modan. Mohan is the Modan and Madan are stages of separation. And then it is divided into Rudha and Adi Rudha. These are divisions of intensity of Madan and of Mohan. That's what Rudha and Adi Rudha mean. So these stages of separation and meeting, actually there's two stages described, Mohan and Modan, and only one union described. But that's another bit of a topic, which is very sweet and very relishable, because even the intellect, even without the, can you say, practicing so much, perhaps. Just the consciousness itself to run to that place of trying to appreciate what is the nature of that love, even intellectually, is very exhilarating for the consciousness. It keeps the intelligence, so it keeps the horizons open. If the horizons start to come down a little bit, then we have to get concerned. So Mahaprabhu, he only comes once in a day of Lord Brahma, 8,640,000,000 years. It's remarkable. It's healthy to appreciate the vastness of that time. And then Krishna just comes once in the 7th Manvantara at that time. You know, in one day of Lord Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And in the 7th Manvantara is when Krishna appears, in the 28th Dwarpa Yuga. That's when Krishna appears. And 5,000 years later, Mahaprabhu comes to say, who was Krishna? To us. But that's not the principal reason for his advent. What is the principal reason for Mahaprabhu's advent? The first reason.
The first, he wants to taste premrasa, unutto jalam. Yes.
Very good. He wants to taste his own prem. I mean, if we say that to someone on the street, some intelligent person on the street, that God wants to taste his own sweetness, it just immediately your mind goes into a sort of like astonishment. It's so astonishing that the Lord wants to taste his own sweetness. So just by remembering this phenomena, we are actually walking in the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Just by remembering this, you know, in a regular fashion. This is why you all know when you come to see me, I'm going to ask you the same questions again and again, because we always have to turn this point first before we can go anywhere else. He's come to explain to us about the nature specifically of Parakiya Ras. What respectable gentleman could understand that God should have relationships with other men's wives? In South India, the South Indian Brahmana is very, very pukka. How would they think for a moment, you know, comfortably, that God was having relationships with other men's wives?
But it's a conception, isn't it? In a spirit, it's a
No, it's not that's in the spiritual world. That's a whole nother thing. You jumped a track.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's taking it to, you're like reconciling it by saying that too quickly.
Yeah, but
In the spiritual world, it is a conception, ultimately. But nevertheless, it's because there's a reason for this transgression of etiquette and morality.
it's not sure that-
And we also need to have that material jump world to actually embrace Krishna. We have to leave this world behind, as the gopis did. The gopis left, I mean, for a 16-year-old girl in Vrindavan today, they are mostly concerned with their reputation amongst the elders.
Yeah.
Most young girls, they are really well behaved and they're looking to grandmother and so on, and you're behaving, because they're dharmic mood, dharmic natured. So they actually want that credit, you know, from their mother, etc. They generally, they're not wayward. The girls in India are not like that. They're nicely trained. They have their focuses, their vision. And the gopis, they left all that behind. They left their reputation. They left their shine. They left everything. And they ran to the forest. I mean, how amazing.
Yes.
But they had known Krishna all their lives. You remember when they were very young, they were just playing in the dust together. And suddenly one day, they realized, this is a really beautiful boy that we're with here. And suddenly that boy recognized, these are really beautiful girls that I'm playing with. And all of a sudden, they couldn't play anymore the way they had been playing. All of a sudden, their little chatter slowed down. They started to walk more slowly. And it's described through the 10th canto. Krishna's ages, his Balya, and then going into Poganda age. So this transition, and then going into Kishore age. So these transitions, I mean, it's so thick with personality, with personal features. How can we stay away from that personal conception? Because the more we appreciate Krishna's qualities, the more we connect with that person, with Krishna. The more and more, the more we hear about his moods, like as Dear Lalit, always joking, always cavorting with the gopis, etc. These moods, then the more we are connecting with the Lord. So when they ran to the forest at night, giving up all of that and dancing, we don't say it's a conception. We say it's a conception to analyze it in the spiritual realm.
Yes.
In the spiritual realm, they have the conception that they have husbands, but they don't actually have husbands. But in the material world, they do have husbands, because everything in the material world is materially orientated. It's Naimitic Leela, much of it, in those pastimes in Brajabhumi. All the demons coming and so on. The demons don't come in Goloka Vrindavana, but there's a conception of the demons coming in Goloka Vrindavana, just to heighten the sweetness of the pastimes. But Mahaprabhu has come specifically to demonstrate the superiority or the excellence of this Parakya Bhav in the heart of the gopis. He's come to bring out from the Bhagavatam the speciality of that apparently materially immoral relationship. Because in the Bhagavatam, when we read that 33rd chapter of the Ras Leela, it appears that Krishna is transgressing morality. And then Parikshit Maharaj, he asks, because he's seeing the faces of the sages around, well, is this correct that we should actually accept the Lord in such an immoral, performing immoral acts like this? And then Shukadeva Goswami, what's he saying? He's saying that actually Krishna is like fire. Fire is always pure. You can throw a dead body on fire and fire still remains pure. So Krishna also, he can perform these apparently immoral acts and he's always pure.
But that's from a material point of view.
It has to be given first. We are materially conscious. We're talking about this material mind. We're not talking as if we're realized siddhas or anything like that. So we're going through that. So Parikshit is laying the foundation for all the sadhaks to stand on this platform of strong faith. Shraddha Shraddha Vishvasa. Vishvasa means with complete confidence. And Sudrita, this firmness. Nishchoy, certainty. This is the definition of Shraddha, this certainty. So, and confidence. When we have this type of confidence in the Lord's pastimes, we cannot have any moment of doubt about his personality and his pastimes. If we have doubt about that, then Guru must clear that doubt, or we must chant carefully to clear that doubt. But Mahaprabhu, in this verse, this is what this verse is all about. And this is what my Gurudev spoke, our Gurudev spoke so many times in so many. And then the second line of this verse, what's that? Samarvaitam unnata ujvala rasam swa bhakti shriyam. This swa bhakti shriyam. Swa means own. So Krishna's own bhakti. So what is Krishna's own bhakti? Radha. So Radha is Krishna's bhakti. Krishna is devoted to Radha. And then Shriyam, the pleasure of, the treasure. The treasure, it's translated as. But what is the treasure? We have to open the box, and that is ultimately Manjari Bhav. That is the beauty of Radha, is her Sakis, her Manjaris, etc. This is the beauty of a young girl, is her friends, her Sakis, her Manjaris. Gurudev describes like a creeper, and the creeper has beautiful flowers and Manjaris, etc. The creeper won't sway in the wind without these flowers and Manjaris, etc. So the beauty of Radha is with her Sakis and Manjaris. So these Sakis and Manjaris are serving this Unnata Ujvala Prem. This Unnata means topmost. Ujvala means brilliantly shining. So this topmost brilliantly shining Prem is what Mahaprabhu has come to taste, and he's come to give us service to that Prem. This is what this verse is saying.
So we are the servant of that love. We have to serve
the
them.
gopis.
Yes.
We are the servants of the gopi prem. Gopi prem is what Bhagavatam is inspiring us towards. The Bhagavatam consists of 5 Gits, and in each of those Gits is Venu Git, Pranaya Git, Gopi Git, Yugal Git, Hamara Git. These Gits are all moods of separation, actually. Even Pranaya Git, when they're standing in front of Krishna. This is the most heart-rendering separation, actually, in that Gita. That's when they've broken all the rules of morality and they've run to the forest, and then Krishna's sending them away. They're completely distraught that Krishna should be so callous to them. They don't know whether, to give up their bodies or what they should do. That's a really heart-rendering pastime in the 29th chapter. That is so beautiful. This is Pranaya Gita. But it's all song of separate, like Venu Gita is anticipation, is this Purvarag, but it's a mood of separation. Purvarag is considered one of the 4 moods of separation. There's 4 types of separation. Purvarag, Man, praying by Chitya, and Purvas. These are the 4 separation moods. So Purvarag is what is being described in Venu Gita. All the Gits. So these are the life heirs of the Bhagavatam. But they're all about Gopi Gita. They're all about Gopi Prem, rather.
Yeah.
And this is our goal. How many times did Srila Gurudeva say to us when we were going to do the Sankalpa in Jamuna or even in Ganga for the Nava? Now, everyone say after me, I want to be a Palya Dasi of Srimati Radharani. And none of us knew really what it meant, but we're all just saying it. But he's left that treasure behind for us. That treasure is ultimately revealed on the pages of the Bhagavatam. On the pages of the Bhagavatam is our wealth within the Bhagavatam. From that first verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives 5 wonderful explanations, they're called. This Janmadi Asya Yata Nivyadita Dashkarta Shishu Abhignat Sarai. Tene Brahma Kridaya Adikavaya Muyanti Yatsarai. Teje Varam Pari Yata Vinamoya Yatra Trisharva Misham Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Satyam Paramadimahe. What is this Satyam Paramadimahe? What is this ultimate truth that is described in the Bhagavatam? He gives 5. You have read, these 5. I'm just going to repeat myself. What do you know? The first ultimate truth of the Bhagavatam is Brahman. Many are seeking Brahman realization. Even Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, is described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as being Brahman realized. So what is the consciousness of all the other demigods if their spiritual master is? When it says Brahman realized, it means that is their principal focus. It doesn't mean ultimately Krishna conscious. Krishna goes so many times to the heavenly planets and they just want him to win battles for them. And when he's beaten the enemy, they say, well, can I have my palace back now?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. See you later, Krishna. It's like, there's no, where is there, you correct me if I'm saying something that's, that you can understand, that you can clarify things. Braj Ballabha, she's quiet, but she has all these truths. I learned so much from her in past. So the first consideration or explanation is Brahman. And Gurudev, he also gives these 5 explanations in the secrets of the Bhagavatam, secret truths of the Bhagavatam. But he gives a little bit differently. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says the first is Brahman realization. And the second is Lord Narayan, Lakshmi Dev. Worship of Lord Narayan and Lakshmi Dev is a principal path or avenue of worship to the Lord, which is acknowledged, etc. But it's not the highest principle, it's the second. And then after that, he proposes that Madhurya Ras is actually the highest goal or wealth of the Bhagavatam. Madhurya Ras is principally describing union and separation. This is a very thick, sweet consciousness So he's describing this is actually the greatest wealth. But then again, he says, no, there is even more. The fourth explanation is Radha and Krishna directly developing our awareness of their excellence in their pastimes, in their sweetness of their amorous play with the backdrop of Vrindavan. This is the fourth explanation. And the fifth explanation is so beautiful. The fifth explanation, the highest explanation, is Bhakti Devi herself, is devotion. It's devotion. Bhagavatam will teach us devotion because it's where the jiva is reading the Bhagavatam. So for our benefit, it's giving us a window into pure devotion. That is the path that the Bhagavatam is actually giving. But Gurudev, his final explanation is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But actually by understanding Mahaprabhu, like we're talking about now, that is the final goal of the Bhagavatam. This is how he describes in Secrets of Bhagavatam. I've said this very, very, very quickly because you're all working this week and I'm just keeping it a little bit tight. But you can ask me any question as we go through. So this focus of Bhakti Devi, this is what, and devotion. So now what type of devotion? Who will we emulate? You know, Uddhava, his devotion was actually Aishwarya. There's the beautiful pastime in chapter 46 when he goes to Vrindavan on behalf of Krishna. And he sees all Vrindavan as it was when Krishna was present. All the bulls are rutting in the field, everyone's calling very happily, all the incense lamps of, the arti trays are there. There's a beautiful description. And the flowers are blooming, all the trees are beautifully blossoming and so on. He sees a picture of Vrindavan with great happiness. Then all of a sudden Krishna steps out of a doorway and Uddhava, he offers Dandavat Pranam. This doesn't happen in Braj. That mood of honoring Krishna as God. So then...
I have a question. I read on the internet that Bhakti Devi is Durga.
Is what?
Is Durga. So
Durga is a part.
Who is Bhakti Devi?
Bhakti Devi ultimately is Radha.
Oh.
Ultimately, Bhakti Devi is love for Krishna, is pure devotion for Krishna. Aradhanam, this devotion to Krishna. Bhakti means devotion. We use the word bhakti, but sometimes it's nice just to use the word devotion for Western people. That mood of devotion, we need to hear devotion, being devoted. You know,
Yes, but Durga has also devotion.
Durga Ma is the aspect of Yogamaya. Yogamaya is like Purnamasi, for example, in the spiritual world. And she is orchestrating everything for the spiritual pastimes. And Durga Ma is arranging us to stay within the illusory world. This attraction, this is actually what Durga Ma. So if somebody said Durga Ma, what did they say?
It's also devotion.
Bhakti Devi.
I said.
No, she's a part. She's in the same thread because ultimately Yogamaya is coming from Sri Radha. So Bhakti Devi ultimately is coming from Sri Radha. When Krishna, he manifests from his left side, Srimati Radharani. And as soon as Srimati Radharani sees Krishna, she immediately runs to embrace Krishna. So in this attraction to Krishna, this is pure, the highest conception of devotion seen in Radha. And then her, from her Swarup is manifesting Yogamaya to arrange all the pastimes. And an aspect of Yogamaya is Durga Ma. So the thread is like that. There's a lot of background understanding that helps to support that conception. I've just said it in a sentence more or less, but we need to hear all about Purnamasi, all about Durga. We need to hear so many other things to give you a proper appreciation of this truth. What can you say about Bhakti Devi?
Durga is the shadow
The shadow of Yogamaya, yes. She's operating in this world. And she doesn't even come in front of Krishna because she feels so ashamed of having to attract the jivas away from Krishna.
What are the roles?
This is her job, yeah?
That's her service, yeah. That's who she is. That's her nature. These are very deep points that I'm saying very quickly because I'm sitting in front of such an advanced audience tonight that I feel for the first time, I've been out of India for a month, you know, and tonight I promise you I'm feeling very, very comfortable in front of you all, you know, because you have some Guru Nishta, I can see, you know. So because of this, you've caught some jewels from Gurudev. So now we can polish these jewels together. So I'm being very abbreviated in what I'm saying. We could spin it out very lengthy, but I'm just cutting to the chase each time because we only have a few hour or two together like that. Anything else on this point? Sure. But sometimes you can tell her more of these. What were you going to say? We're still on Mahaprabhu and we're still on Anapita Chirat.
Yes, definitely. I heard that you said the different roles between Vrinda Devi is the same as Purnamasi, but they have different roles.
No, I didn't begin to describe. I didn't even say the word Vrinda Devi. You said Vrinda
Yes,
Devi.
but Purnamasi, Yogamaya,
has two personalities.
Exactly.
She's one tattva and two personalities.
Exactly.
Purnamasi and Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi is a varna. She's not like a regular person. Like Purnamasi, you see her in the village, an old lady. She's the mahant of the village. But Vrinda Devi is the goddess of the forest. She's always in the forest. Nanda Baba doesn't see Vrinda Devi. You know, she has all fairies, so to speak, working. You know, they're all varnas. They all talk to all the plants, all the trees, all the bush. They planted all the trees and bushes of Braj. This is Vrinda Devi. So Vrinda Devi is in a young, eternal body, so she can enter the Ras Leela.
Yes.
And when the Ras Leela is going on, Vrinda Devi is the audience. And all her sakis, all her duties, messengers, they're all the audience of that Ras Leela. So that's very good. But this verse, Anapita Chirim Chirat, this is the explanation of why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested. We have to know this very comfortably. We have to be very familiar with this truth of Mahaprabhu. Because without appreciating Mahaprabhu's identity, we can't really maximize or optimize this time frame in this birth, because he is the one who's giving us all this remarkable mercy. You know, 700 years ago, we couldn't just sit and talk about Ras Leela. We couldn't just sit and talk about all these topics in a very familiar way. Actually, it's only because of Gurudev's mercy that we're able to talk about these topics. In most places, you know, even within the Gaudiya Math, they don't always go into these topics very thickly. But we have a passport, we've been stamped. Gurudev went in there, he's a very bold, he did. He walked right in there, even though he was unpopular many times. Many of the Gaudiya Maths would not want to hear because Gurudev was so much realized in these topics, he was able to speak about these topics to us. So we've received it. This is our legacy. And if we don't continue to speak these topics, then where is the continuation of Gurudev's legacy? If you just speak regular Bhagavad Gita, the first 9 cantos of Bhagavatam, but you don't delve into the PowerPoints of the 10th canto, then actually we're missing the real heart. And that phrase I described previously that Bhaktivedanta Thakur has given, that Bhakti Ras is the function of Krishna Bhakti when it's absolutely pure. We have to hold that up as being our goal. That's where we're going. We have to talk about it. Actually, Gurudev gives his best description in the introduction to Venu Gita. This is very famous writing of Gurudev. Just to completely get that clear. In Venu Gita, that explanation that Gurudev gives, how we have to study this Bhakti Ras. We have to go into this area. How can we aspire for Gopi Prem if we don't hear about Gopi Prem, we don't discuss Gopi Prem, we don't think about Gopi Prem? And it all happens in the most wonderful backdrop of Sri Vrindavan. In the backdrop of Vrindavan with its beautiful flowers, beautiful trees, the animals, the bird life, etc., the lakes, Giriraj Govardhan, all of this aspect of Vrindavan. Then how can we really appreciate Radha and Krishna's pastimes? So Gurudev would pull us to Braj every year, put us on those buses, bounce us around all those places, and impress deeply in us during the month of Kartik under his guidance. Come to Braj, take these pastimes into your heart. Even if they don't flower or blossom in this lifetime, they're still etched into our consciousnesses to go into the next birth.
The impressions are there.
Samskars, yeah. Without these samskars, there's two types of sanskars, praktana and adunika. Adunika is the sanskars we've collected in this birth. And praktana are like ancient, prachana or praktana. Praktana it's called, yeah. Prachin means ancient. So it's from previous births. We're carrying previous, because one time Gurudev was explaining in 91, 92 to those ISKCON when he was reading Vilap Kusumantra, these books. How, because they asked the question, how is it that some seem to go very fast on this journey and some seem to go much slower? And then Gurudev explained, well, some are carrying these Gada sanskars, these sanskars, praktana from previous birth were coming, and some are just making fresh sanskars in this birth. But whenever we get the opportunity to increase that appreciation for Braj, then we should take it with, full enthusiasm. And it's precious, it's a jewel. But that is important. It's an important balance in the whole package that Srila Gurudev gave us, because he really did give us Braj, and he really did give us Navadvip, and he really did give us Mahaprabhu. I can remember when this verse, Anapita Chirim Chirat, he first spoke it in Australia in 1997. I can remember sitting on front, he was sitting on a sofa, and and just blew us away. We'd heard about Mahaprabhu for so many years, 17 years, whatever. But when he told us actually what is his identity, and then let's just finish the explanation.
Yes.
So how do we describe that Unnata Ujjvala Prem? What is the nature of that prem? How can we get a picture of it? How would you describe it? The picture of that is encapsulated in his three desires, because from desire everything is manifesting. So Mahaprabhu's three desires, Shiradaya Mahima Kidrishova Naiva, Svadyena Puta Madhurima Kidrishova Madhya, Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vetilovat, Tadbhavadya Samajani Sachigarbo Sindhu Harindu. So this is the picture of prem that Mahaprabhu came. Premras Niryase Korite Ashvada. He's come to taste prem. It's so wonderful when I ask a group, why did Mahaprabhu come? And they say to taste prem. Because so many are not educated. Oh, he came to give the holy name.
Jaiva Dharma.
Yeah, you could, all these, this is the last reason, when we appreciate, and then we appreciate what is the nature of the prem. Then we can enter Braj through this pathway, because Mahaprabhu will take us to Braj. So he wanted to understand the glories of Radha's love.
And manifest it.
Huh?
He wanted to understand it and manifest it. The glories of Radha.
He did manifest it, but he wanted, the way we say it, he wanted to understand the glories of her love. It doesn't say manifest it. I've told you many times it has to be like an actor learns his lines.
Exactly.
Because then you can really get it. If we speculate anything on it, we kind of like miss. What's that noise? Oh. But want to understand the glory. Mahaprabhu is directly giving us Radha Tattva. How can we? Krishna was not married to Radha, not legally anyway. That Gandharva, so many things, but didn't have the
The paperwork.
It didn't. But so how to understand Radha Thakur? I mean, in the previous, in the four sampradayas, they were just struggling with the identity of the jiva, basically in relationship to Krishna. What is Sambandha Gyan? In Ramanuja, it was Vaishishta Advaitavad, right? They were saying, no, it's not one like Sankaracharya had said just previously, 800 AD is when Sankaracharya was there. So 1100 was Ramanuja. This is like 400 years later. But Sankaracharya made such an impression in India because he had to do that service of bringing the Vedic teachings back into India after Buddha Avatar had actually pushed them, or Sakya Singha Buddha, the second Buddha, had pushed them into Thailand, Vietnam, that area. So he had to pull the Vedic teachings back. So the principal path that the Sampradayas were describing was what is the jiva in relationship to Krishna, because with Sankaracharya, they understood that everything is one. I am one, God is one, we are one together. That Advaitavad, that's still prominent. It's very easy for the jiva to think like that because we've actually come from a region of Tatashta originally, where we were neutral. We didn't want to go up and we didn't want to come down. We were neutral with no lamentation, no problem. That's where we've come from, that impersonal place. So it's easy for our consciousnesses actually to go back to there. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has described it. So from Sankaracharya, Advaita, then it comes Ramanuja, then Madhvacharya, then Vishnu Swami, then Nimbaditya. And gradually it's like an evolution of consciousness towards appreciating Radha and Krishna's amorous pastimes. Like Nimbaditya describe much of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, but not in a complete understanding of Parakya. They had no Parakya description there. Rag Marg was practiced by Nimbaditya, but the understanding of Parakya was not there until Mahaprabhu came.
So there can be an evolution in our sampradaya.
The way the Sampradayas manifested, yes, it's a gradual unfoldment. Because Ramanuja,
Also after Gurudev, there will be evolution.
no, not like that. It's already evolved. We have to catch up personally and evolve ourselves to reach up to it. But it's already manifested, I think. I don't know if there's anything more to know. I mean, it's like Gurudev gave us the whole thing. He said so many times, what else is there to give you? He's given us everything. But what is now remaining is for us to purify ourselves, to appreciate and fully acknowledge and absorb and realize these truths. But this is what I'm doing this evening. I'm just floating all these different bullet points out. I'm not really going into any of them significantly, but just reminding everyone of all the principal aspects. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes? Okay. You understand what I'm saying? A little bit. Ashok will explain after. These are so important points. I'm just saying them very briefly. I haven't gone to try. If you ask me a particular question, like, what is his name again? Preeti. Like Preeti is asking, then I will elaborate on the points. So don't leave it hanging. The answers are there, but I'm just trying to paint a very broad picture so we can. Actually, I wanted to talk about Uddhava today, but we'll see how far we get.
No,
There's
but just introduction. This.
Yeah, just pressing all the buttons.
There's the Goswamis from Radharaman temple, Pundarik Goswami.
Yes.
He is fast learner,
Yes,
extremely.
I know.
He's
Yeah.
extremely fast learner. And he just now gave 7 days Harikatha on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bhav, building up right from the beginning, 7 days. Such a Harikatha, such a high level, it was never ever presented on Asta television before. So when Pundarik came, he just smashed all, I mean, with respect, but there was, no one has ever did that, 7 days long about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right from the beginning, why did he appear, and until the end. And it was simply amazing.
More than Gurudev?
Oh, no. I mean,
on TV, was saying.
on television.
On this TV thing.
on Asa television, the Indian program.
So this is a symptom of Kali Yuga. A symptom of Kali Yuga is actually that this amazing truth
Yes.
is going to be broadcast publicly all over the world.
And it
Now,
was never
but
done
the
before.
main thing is, even though it's broadcast, how many souls will be able to actually act on it?
But they
catch
have
it.
heard it.
We have heard it,
Yes.
but that's not enough for us.
Oh, but
We want to actually go and delve into, taste it.
I mean, in India itself, how many people know that Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna combined in one?
Practically none.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are so many sadhus, guru, great saints, speaking on Ramcharitmanas, speaking on the Bhagavad Gita, speaking on different topics. And I mean, my ears are always, just glued there, to hear Harikatha all the time. So, I mean, for me, and for the great sages that they know that Mahaprabhu is like Prem Avatar. They accept Mahaprabhu like he has come as a devotee. But I haven't heard from their mouth that Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna in one. Now, it was for me very special to hear that all those great sages that they are vastly learned, highly realized, that they could hear now for the first time for 7 days long who Mahaprabhu was, because I was getting frustrated that they accept Mahaprabhu as a devotee only, and now it was broadcast. It was broadcast like in 167 countries, and for me it was very special to hear the glorification of who really Mahaprabhu is, because right now in India there are so many people that they don't know who really Mahaprabhu is. So it was for me, a great spectacle, that all the great sages could hear and accept the fact, just like now many great sages come from India, but I feel that they should appreciate Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and our Gurudeva.
It's quite amazing that actually in the Western bodied devotees, they have more of an opportunity because of their desperation.
Definitely.
Because the atmosphere is so crippled with envious acts, etc., that are happening in the Western world. India is there, but India has a backdrop of sort of affectionate dealings generally. Generally, the fear level is less in India than it is in the West. This is what I appreciate. And it seems that the devotees from the Western world, because they have this desperation that they can actually break through a lot of the traditions and actually reach the heart of like you're describing this personality, Pundarik Goswami. And he's very fortunate. He's born in the Radharaman, Mandir, etc. And he's speaking this in the Western world. And Westerners, we need this appreciation of the identity. But in India, as you say, it's not so much available, actually, that people understand the nature of who is Mahaprabhu. But we ourselves should understand completely with clarity. So tell me, what is the second desire of Mahaprabhu?
The sweet, transcendental, astonishing qualities that Srimati Radhika relished to her love.
Okay. And what is the pastime that's describing that in particular, that it's given in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Very sweet pastime when Krishna is very young and he sees his reflection in a column.
In the column, yes.
And he thinks it's the most beautiful boy he's ever seen in his life.
Exactly.
And he wants to embrace him, and he wants to give him some butter also. And then he realizes that it's himself, but he can't taste himself. So this is something that he wants to taste. Adbhuta Madhurima, astonishing sweet qualities. That's what he wants to taste. Now, what's the third?
The happiness she realized when she realized the sweetness of his love.
For her.
Yeah.
For her.
Yeah.
She's receiving the sokyam kasyam
happiness she
mad
feels.
anubhavata.
Yes.
Yes. She's becoming, and that happiness is described as Madanakya Mahabhav or Madanakya Mohan or Modan. These stages of meeting and separation. So for us to appreciate, just to talk now about these three desires is the most confident. That's actually the full package. Now from there, we can go to Jagannath Puri and the pastime Mahaprabhu in the ocean, pastime Mahaprabhu at Sringadvaha, when all his limbs came into his body, etc. Foaming at Gambira, in the Gambira. When we go there, like for 18 years, he lived in Puri, and 12 years, he was just immersed for 12 years with Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda in that atmosphere. And this is when he was, Mahaprabhu Gurudev has described is our Bhajan Shiksha Guru. Completely, our Bhajan Shiksha Guru. We have to really appreciate that fact. What did Mahaprabhu do with his time and his life? He was every day going to Tota Gopinath. He was hearing from Sri Radha directly in the form of Gadadhar. They were going through the Bhagavatam together. But Gadadhar could never come into the Gambira because she knew the extremity of the separation that Mahaprabhu was. Puri Dham is Vipralambha Dham.
Yes.
Navadvip Dham is Sambhog. Navadvip Dham is where actually the Rasalila took place. I'm going really fast.
Bring them. Bring it. Very good.
So our goal is to
Serve the love.
to have the same feelings like Mahaprabhu had. So
Yes.
in his throat, crying. This is our goal. About the name in our heart to get in this and crying. Yeah? This is our goal.
Specifically, we call it Gopi Prem.
Then we have the goal. Huh?
That is.
Then it's finished. Oh, no?
And then it starts.
But we cannot.
Yes.
We
This is
cannot
the point.
taste Radha Bhav.
Then
it
it-
starts.
It's already going on now. It's starting. It's an eternal appreciation. It's like, for example, there's one very beautiful verse, Akshambatam Phalam Idam Na Param Vidama, when the gopis are watching Krishna and Balaram go to the forest with all the cows. And Krishna is seeing the beautiful glances of the gopis, and he's seeing their love-laden moods. And he's appreciating at that point that actually the gopis, they have a sweeter mood than I'm experiencing by seeing me. Krishna wants to be in their vision and see what they see of Krishna. Mahaprabhu is always looking for who? He's looking for Krishna. He's frantically looking for Krishna everywhere. In Shamakund, we have Chaitanya Baitak, where Mahaprabhu is sitting, looking at Shamakund. He's not looking at Radhakund. He is in the mood of Radha, and he's looking at Shyam in the form of Shamakund. That's where he sits. That's his sitting place.
He is teaching us. Huh?
So he is teaching us by this mood, but we are not searching for Krishna the way Mahaprabhu is. We are searching for service to Radha. We are searching for that Gopi Prem, principally embodied in the heart of Sri Radha. All the gopis are manifesting from Sri Radha. They're all her Kaya Vyuha. Radha knows that Krishna has so many desires, amorous desires to fulfill. She can't fulfill all those desires in one body. So she manifests as the Astasakis, the 8 Sakis. Then they manifest again and again, and so on and so on. So all those billions of gopis ultimately are all manifesting from Sri Radha to bring pleasure to Krishna. So we are.
So they are all one.
No.
And
They
different
are
at
and
the
they're
same
not.
time.
You see, we have to be cautious here. There's two aspects. There's what we call rasa vichar and tattva vichar. There's two lines running parallel. And we have to, as devotees, through the power of the Mahamantra, be able to bridge these two conceptions, because in a sense they are all one, but we don't think of that. they're all so uniquely individual.
We have qualities.
Yes, like Lalita Devi, full of pragalpa, full of boldness, and Vishaka, born at the same time as Radha, very gentle, very much like Radha, and Tungaviri, all the other, they all have their very prominent personalities and natures. So to say just like a blanket, oh, they're all one, is not really the heart of it. They are in what we would say Atma Tattva, at ground level. It's like in Atma Tattva, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's Madana Mohan. But in Rasa Tattva, Sri Radha is Madana Mohan Mohini. She controls Krishna. Understand?
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's saying in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matahar Sabharam Bhavantante, that Krishna controls all the material worlds and all the spiritual worlds. They all emanate from Krishna. But this personality is controlled by Radha when we understand what is Rasa Tattva. So there's two different moods going at the same time. It's very sweet. We have to first of all appreciate.
So our goal is to reach Radha.
Radha's service. We have reached Radha's service when you do anything with the intention of pleasing Sri Radha. As soon as you decide, because if you're pleasing Sri Radha, Lalita and Vishaka are going to be there to actually enroll you in that camp. And Krishna will be so much pleased by that, and we will get Krishna's grace and mercy by that. But we principally want Radha's mercy. It's Radha's compassionate, supremely compassionate mercy that we are praying for, that we are hungry for. To invoke that mercy. But that seems like a long way off. But really, it's very close. It's as close as we want to bring it. It's not really a million miles away. It's actually very close. We really have to read through Jaiva Dharma. Jaiva Dharma is like the encyclopedia of all of these truths. The first 25 chapters, they bring us to the threshold of Rasa Tattva. And the last 14 chapters, they take us into descriptions of all of these moods and focuses of our consciousnesses. But it's chanting and it's constantly associating with the 10th canto in particular. We should first have absorbed the first 9 cantos, but not remain in that place. And then we go into the 10th canto. And there's many books we have. We have Gopal Champu is the 10th canto, another Vrindavana Champu is the 10th canto, Kavi Kampu, and then there's Krishna's Storybook is the 10th canto. Then there's Sa'artha Darshani, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is the 10th canto. So we have, in English anyway, many places to taste the sweet pastimes of the 10th canto.
And is it a problem if you don't read canto 11 and 12? Is this part?
11 and 12 are nectar. 11 is principally the process, the abhideya. Abhideya means how to access the truth. Isn't it strange that we have the sambandha first? That's not strange, but the strange thing is we have the prayojan second. Prayojan is the goal. And then the third description is in the 11th canto, which is detachment, principally, because detachment is at the heart of the process of practice. We're developing detachment in every single way from this world, ultimately from my material body. So that's what's described.
12 is practice.
11 particularly. 12 is like the summary. In the 12th canto, it's incredible. The first 2 chapters of the 12th canto, they describe these long, long, long lists of kings that have come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. They were great kings. And you get to the end of it and you're thinking, well,
Very boring, eh?
who? No, not at all. I find it fascinating because it just really puts everything in you know, in context. It's like, how great am I? How great is Radha Prasad? You know,
Not
but
at
actually, historically, he'll just be a little name in the Dutch Yatra in like 200 years' time. They won't even know actually all about. We'll have to write more about you. So
Well,
it feels
well,
like more.
I'm looking
But-
for Pratishtha right now.
Oh, well, we'll get him a statue.
Yes, but still, no. All these kings had statues. That's the, you know, beautiful point. Is that it's showing all these great kings, and they've all been left in history. So we are destined for the same, you know, conclusion. We will also be left in history. In other words, what is the purpose to actually create this great attitude towards ourselves, which is the final offense in this world of Pratishta? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he said this, you know, when we're practicing, it's like a forest of anarthas, a forest of faults, and there's one massive tree in the center, and that is called Pratishta. When I want things for my aggrandizement, when I can't appreciate Krishna as the center. You understand what I'm saying?
You can't,
Huh?
you cannot appreciate Krishna in the center.
As soon as we can appreciate Krishna in the center, then immediately we diffuse all our misconceptions about my own glory. So in the 12th canto, there's the 2 beginning chapters talk about these kings and so on, and it's very purifying. And then it describes the beautiful Markandeya Rishi pastime about a great sage and time, and then it's like a summary, because in the 6th chapter of the 12th canto, then Shukadeva Goswami leaves. And then straight after that, Parikshit Maharaj leaves. And then Sutta Goswami, he just concludes.
And that's all in the 12.
That's in the 12th. But the 11th is incredible, because the 11th is Krishna demonstrating his own detachment from his own family members. Because if Krishna leaves this world with all his own powerful family members still intact, then they're going to create havoc because they're so potent and powerful. So Krishna arranges this fratricidal war where they all kill each other because they're powerful enough to kill each other. Many of them are coming from the celestial worlds. So Krishna wants to take them all back with him. So that mood of detachment, what's that verse? Bhakti Parashena Vivavaraktiya Virakta Bhakti Parashena Vivavaraktiya Anyakta Kaisa Trikala Ikala. That bhakti, devotion, direct darshan of Krishna, and detachment, all three appear simultaneously. Bhakti Parashena Vivavaraktiya Anyakta Kaisa Trikala Ikala. I haven't said it for a while. But this verse, you know it. Bhakti Parashena Vivavaraktiya. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I've heard the verse, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the principle, what I'm saying, and it's saying like when you take a meal, that your hunger, your strength, and your satisfaction all appear simultaneously. So this understanding of what is detachment is essential for the whole ingredient. You see, that's where the sadhak can work on, so to speak. Of course, the mercy must come to become attached to Krishna. Then automatically the lower taste will go away.
Just like when Vairag and Gyan, if they don't serve Bhakti, they become old.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what it is. It's true. If Gyan and Vairag doesn't
This is
serve
from
Bhakti,
the Navadvip, Srimad Bhagavatam Mahatmya, describing that pastime.
I read about Jan and Vairag had two sons of somebody.
Bhakti Devi, 2 sons of Bhakti Devi. That's what he's describing. Yeah. It's nice. She's got a lot of things, you know. She's asking these like innocent like questions, but actually it's good. No, you're asking fantastic questions. I'm really, yes, and everything is there for you to know. But you won't have it revealed unless you ask the question. Part of the relationship with the knowledge is asking the question. Once you ask the question, then you can move forward.
Yes, the question again is, the name is more important than seeing Krishna. Yeah,
The name is Krishna. The name is the same as Krishna.
The same is more important than seeing Krishna.
The name is more merciful. The name is present now. Krishna.
But I think seeing Krishna is too difficult, so that we must get the name. No? It's not like this.
Krishna is the name. There's no difference between Krishna and his name. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is present in our consciousnesses. So Krishna and his name are the same. There's no real distinction, actually. Namna Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha.
Nama Rupa Guna Lila.
Yeah.
All these four are same. The Dhaam, the name, the pastimes, the Lila.
We hear it like that, defined like that, and the reality is that by chanting, you become aware of Krishna. You can become with Krishna when you're chanting. Krishna is all we have, and he's brought to life and he's brought to the forefront of our consciousnesses by chanting.
Is it because that Krishna is absolute, that's why it's not different from his name?
Yes, you can say like that. Yeah. Just finish this reading the last one, then we'll start our class.
Which one?
You had 2 more verses to read. Rupa Raghunath, but then.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the associates of Mahaprabhu that are very
When
potent
will-
in our lives.
When will I eagerly follow the path of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami? By their instructions, I will be able to understand the divine love of Sri Radha and Krishna.
This is the point of Mahaprabhu. This is who is Mahaprabhu. This is why Mahaprabhu was advented. So I can understand the divine love of Radha and Krishna and serve it as a gopi. This is my purpose. This is my goal, to serve that love the way the gopis did, with abandonment, without any hesitation.
So we must sit in a forest and do the same like Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Radha?
No, you are sitting in a forest. You're sitting in a jungle. I mean, here in Rotterdam, Holland, this Western world is such a jungle. So we are sitting in the forest. It's
That's
crazy.
the second verse. Samsara dukha jalado patisha kama krodati nakrama kritasya.
No, we should not sit in the forest.
When will I follow the path?
Read the last verse. Read that last verse
The last verse.
of the
My
Gauranga
only
Bali.
aspiration is to attain the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath.
That's the real aspiration, is to attain their mercy, to attain connection with them. And it doesn't matter whether you're living in the forest or whether you're living, in the city. In both instances, we have equal access to the Lord. But Gurudev used to describe whatever situation you're in, stay there. However you're situated, stay there. And if you can spend more of your time chanting and reading and having kirtan about Krishna, then this is our glory. Because there are so many souls here that have advantages, if they hear the name of Krishna, they also can be attracted. So Krishna comes in this world to show his own compassion. So if we are advocating that I am serving Krishna, we should serve his mission also of trying to attract the jivas to, like Ashok's doing Ratha Yatra. When is it? Next month?
25th of June.
Yeah, next month. To attract the jivas by the sound vibration of the Mahamantra. This will be so much inspiring for Krishna, and Krishna will give his mercy then.
Not to him only.
He needs a lot of mercy. Don't deny him some mercy. We all do. And we all getting mercy.
Well, I don't like that he will get so much mercy.
Okay, so we discussed that. So I can
Let's start class now.
Yeah, I'll just sing one more song.
Okay, good.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande.
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande.
Oh Krishna Deva Bhavantam
Bande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Hari Nishtuka Vinda Vitinese Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishtuka Vinda Vitinese Shararati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishtuka Vinda Vitinese Shararati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishtuka Vinda Vitinese
So this evening we've spoken about Srila Gurudeva. We've spoken something of his glories, little tiny bit platform. Then we spoke good amount on Mahaprabhu. We covered all the bases, I think. Then we entered the Srimad Bhagavatam through the first verse, and we scrolled through the different explanations. And I didn't speak much on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cantos. We kind of jumped across, so we've left something. And then we talked something of the 10th canto, a little tiny bit. Pranaya Gita I mentioned, Veda Gita I mentioned, Ramara Gita mentioned a little bit. And then we spoke more, a little bit Jiva Tattva. And that was about it. Right? We covered a lot of...
Four Sampradayas.
Four Sampradayas too, yes. Yes, we also included. Yeah.
So we have a nice variety.
But it was all a little in sutra form,
Yes.
a little like, because I figured that you already knew it, I was just building a platform for it. So
Just sampling.
Yeah, just sprinkling.
Yes,
Okay. Maybe tomorrow we can go into more into the different geets of the Bhagavatam itself. What is Gopi praying? That is our heart. That is what we have to speak about. That is what. That's the place we want to come to. So thank you very much. Shall we begin class now? Or shall
Thank you. Yeah, I'm ready.
But it's actually.
I had one question.
Oh, good.
One question. What's life like in Govardhan?
I'm looking at that picture over there. You know.
I know.
It's hot, yeah. Govardhan town itself, because I was living there for 4 years, is exceptional because they haven't been touched like in Vrindavan. ISKCON have sort of overflowed and all the prices have gone up and it's become very touristy, more than touristy, it's almost like city mood, actually. But Govardhan, it has a special dynamic because no one really stays there. They all visit it and just to do parikrama. They come and they do the parikrama, then they go back to Delhi or wherever. So they have a lot of hotels and like that, but they have, if you want to buy a pair of spectacles in Govardhan, you can't, you have to go to Mathura. If you want to get any sort of industrial thing, it still remains very much a village. And the atmosphere of the people in the village is very like local. It's very friendly. You know, they don't have any reservations when I'm in my relationships there anyway. It was all just very, very beautiful and sweet. Radhakund is a different dynamic altogether because it's all sadhu country. It's all ashrams and gaudiyas and so many people like that. It's another dimension of speciality and sweetness. The intensity of Radhakund is much more than, Govardhan is much more laid back. If you were going to live in India for a year, I would encourage you to stay in Govardhan first. It's much more gentle. And Radhakund is is very intense indeed. The different dynamics with the relationships and so on, because you have to see people every day, wherever you're going. So it affects your consciousness in the place where you're living. But Radhakund is our wealth. Radhakund is our greatest treasure. Radhakund is the pinnacle of devotion, really and truly. Raghunath Das is saying that as many times in one lifetime we can even just physically bathe in Radhakund, we should. And then Shamakund is right there, the whole of the parikrama. I made a little book, Radhakund Parikrama book, but I didn't bring any copies. It's online, you can get it. Just the parikrama of Radhakund. But it's going to these places every single day for a sustained amount of time can make some, impression on the heart. It does get the hottest almost, in Braj in summer and the coldest in winter. It has extremes of temperature, but it has extremes of intensity also. It's like Radharani is just sitting there 24/7 with you. And it's very wonderful. What can I say? It can help us into bhajan. Who has bhajan in Kali Yuga? It's described practically no one actually has bhajan. It's very hard, to have our minds are distracted by so many different things. It's not easy. But certainly around Govardhan has the least influence of Kali on the planet. Around Govardhan itself, Govardhan Hill, has the least influence of Kali Yuga. So it's a place that, but a few weeks is nice, but if you can stay a month or 6 weeks, and sometimes just a little bit alone, and just you find something different to being with the group. Anyway, you know as well, you've been so many times.
Yeah.
And Bhagavad also been so many times.
I've never been.
What do you mean?
I've never really been there.
Yeah, you need to have time to go there. But now,
No, but to really be there, I mean, like I've been there, but
yeah,
my mind was somewhere else.
to stay for some time. But now, by somehow Krishna's fortune and mercy, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given me a place in Swananda Sukha Kunj, just behind. And I'm shifting completely over to there in Godrum next month. And I have some extra beds there. You're welcome to come and stay.
You have a bed? Even nice. 3. Oh, then must come.
No, it's a big place.
Airbnb.
But it's so, Godrum is quite different because it's the middle island between the populated Mayapur and the township of Navadvip. And it's like it was like 400 years ago.
It's Jaiva Dharma.
It just hasn't like materially moved.
It's Jaiva Dharma, right? It's there.
Amazing. But it's special. So always new places, new horizons. So my personal horizon is Godrum.
What about Navadvip?
Huh?
You said Govardhan is a suitable place.
Govardhan is beautiful.
Vrindavana Dhaam.
Govardhan is totally, and actually we have a beautiful temple there, many, many rooms and so on, just to stay there and live and, just buy your vegetables each day, etc. The meditation, immerse the consciousness in the personality of Giriraj Govardhan. Do parikramas each day and so on. It's a blessing. It's a treasure. But also we have so much treasure right here. I mean, just the opportunities to speak to people about Krishna that are suffering like crazy. I remember one time somebody was telling me how Prabhupada was driving through the street in Australia, in Sydney. And this person had just picked him up at the airport and driving through the city. And this driver, Chidahari was his name, was seeing all the suffering humanity, somewhat by the influence of Prabhupada, perhaps he was seeing it more clearly. And he was thinking how fortunate and blessed he was to be in such a nice position. And then he looked in the rear vision mirror and could see Prabhupada sitting in the back, and tears were streaming down his face in sympathy to the suffering souls. So this is the sympathy that we want to invoke in our hearts. You know, we can only invoke that when we're getting some real nourishment and taste ourselves. Then we realize how empty and void others are without that, and how special, you know, that gift is that we've been blessed with. And how to, and prasadam distribution is the first one. This is our secret weapon, no doubt. And Harinam Sankirtan practically runs on a par. Prasadam distribution is easy to give to change someone's mind.
Kitchen religion.
Yeah, best. Direct. You just change someone's, but then you have to offer it nicely. Actually, as I've been traveling now in England, I've been teaching a lot of people how to offer their bhoga correctly, because I've found that not everyone is knowing this. So I'm going to make a video tomorrow of how to do it according to Gurudeva and Shamrani's paper, how to do it. I was giving classes actually in Australia, 40 minutes just on how to offer, because so many devotees, they haven't developed the habit of saying all the mantras, doing everything in a really correct way. It's so important.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah, we've neglected some
Where
things.
will that video be available?
Ashok will have it.
How about that?
He's going to make it in a compressed format so we can give it on WhatsApp.
And sell it.
I have one already, but it's too big.
You mentioned this thing for download as well. This little booklet, for example. You said it's online.
Well,
we want to all. So.
I have all the copies back in India. I only made 500 copies this time because I made a Navadvip Parikrama, that little one. Maybe you've seen that one. And then I made the Radhakund Parikrama book just before I left. But I have it on my phone. It's just all the prayers to say in each place, like the prayers to Radhakund, prayers to Shivji, Kundeshwara, the prayers to Gopinath, the prayers to Nityananda, the prayers to Raghunath, the prayers to Govinda, Dave, then the prayers to Jagannath, the prayers to Bhaktivedanta Thakur.
Is this not Vaidhi Bhakti?
We are practicing very carefully Vaidhi Bhakti externally. It's like you said, or we said together, this is an internal path. Our internal path is Raganuga Bhakti. Our external path is completely Vaidhi Bhakti. It's completely rules and regulations. And the prime example we've already mentioned is Gurudeva and Mahaprabhu. When did any of them transgress one iota of etiquette, of proper behavior? So externally, we are following the Vaidhi Marg, 100%. But internally, our path is on this chariot of Rag. We are following in the wake of the Rag Atmikas. We want to emulate their prayer, their devotion to Sri Radha, their service to Radha and Krishna. That's internal. You see, it has nothing to do. I said before this evening that if you have any desire in this material world, it's a total disqualification for this path because it means you're distracted here rather than there. It is an internal journey. Do you understand fully? Because sometimes people really get this wrong in a big way. And suddenly start putting on saris and makeup. It happens.
It's the same thing. Anyambilasita sunyam.
Expelled. All material desires expelled here. How many times would Gurudev say this verse? Standard at every single festival. You know, what is the definition of bhakti? And so that has to, it's described that Raghunath Das Goswami had the lines of Vaidhi like carved in stone within him. He would never, and the best example for us is Srila Gurudeva. That's the closest, most recent, and Srila Mahaprabhu. His example also, expelling Chota Haridas just for looking at another woman. He was expelled from his company. So this type of example is what is required for this path. You can't flirt with Maya and expect to actually have any realization of these types of truths that we've been just touching on today. Absolutely in concrete. And then we're satisfied. Then we're actually that treasure of satisfaction of the heart. This was the expression that Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur uses at the beginning of the Bhagavatam. That we are seeking that treasure of satisfaction of the heart through the Bhagavatam. That's what the agenda. You understand? It's a private thing, really, at the end of the day. We talk about these truths, but we have to, it's very hard. In Kali Yuga, everyone's mind is so smashed by entertainment, by Wi-Fi waves, by, I mean, what are we not pushed around by? You know, we know what's happening on every corner of the planet all the time. How can a sensitive man not be sort of concerned with these? You know, a bomb blast in Manchester yesterday. What are we supposed to think about that? Kids, etc. You know, all that. You know, and we take it all on board. It's all making an impact somewhere in the consciousness. So actually, to engage in bhajan, I don't know how to engage in bhajan, but my Gurudev has told me so many times, just engage in bhajan in this life. So many times, 15, 16 times, he told me this directly. He said, if you engage in bhajan in this time, your life, in this lifetime, your life will be completely successful.
And that doesn't mean the bhajan
Like we're actually all doing bhajan tonight, you can say.
Here, the bhajan is not good.
Yeah.
No,
Bhajan,
sorry.
Bhajan means to worship, actually comes from the verb bhaje. Bhaje means to serve.
But what does Gurudev mean? You have to go in bhajan. What does he mean?
It means you have to regularly, the easiest way, and it's so simple, just to chant Hare Krishna. Just that alone for 2 or 3 hours a day will carry you into an internal, deeper, reflective consciousness. Automatically. This is the beginning. And then from that, you have different books, Vilak Kusumanjali or someone like that.
So it means all the day you have to
No,
be busy.
we can't do like that. We're not qualified. But it means as much as possible to incorporate into our daily lives, our daily practice, 3 or 4 hours a day of contemplative chanting. And that begins at about 3:30 in the morning until 6:30. That's the Brahma Muhurta hour. We have to capitalize on that time. That's the only mode of goodness in the whole 24 hours. There isn't another mode of goodness. It's only one time round. It's only at that time. So this is nonsense tonight. It's 9:45. You know, I don't ever do this, but because you're all working, we're doing it late, you know. But we shouldn't get this habit, because what do we normally do in the evening time? Bhajan begins in the evening by arranging to go to bed early.
I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
But he used to get up at 10:30.
10 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
And translate and then
yes, and then do everything else. 7:30, 8 o'clock, he'd be resting. Because what is there to do at that time? Actually, that's considered the mode of passion. That's Rajagun, is rising when the sun sets. All the dacoits come out, everyone's running out to enjoy their senses. That's the mode of, and if we just come back from, it's, we have to tailor and mold our lives in such a way where we can get the best juice out of the 24 hours. And that is the Brahma Muhurta hour. Somehow, not only its auspicious window, but also the pastimes that took place between 3:30 and 6:30 are the most union and the most separation at that time. And if you think of those pastimes at that time, some impression will come in the heart of those pastimes at that time. 100%.
Can we define private bhajan, or what we are doing now, as Bahirang Bhakti and Antarang Bhakti, when you're alone doing your
No.
bhajan?
No, that's not like that. You mean Antardesh, Bahir
No,
Desh?
no. Antarang Bhakti and Bahirang Bhakti.
It's not usually referred to as that. There's 3 stages in bhajan. One's called Bahir Desh, is outer consciousness. Then there's Bahir Antardesh, which is half-half.
Yeah.
And then there's Antir Desh, which is completely immersed. These are the 3 stages that are described regularly in Vilak Kusumanjali by Srila Gurudeva. This Vilak Kusumanjali book by Srila Gurudeva is the greatest wealth into understanding the nature of the Manjari service for Radha and Krishna. Gurudeva has given this himself, and it has never been changed by any editors. I hope they never publish this fully. And now it's his own words. You can read. It's not, the English is a little quaint, but it's his words directly. So this, if you have, describes many places, but not Bahiranga, Antiranga. I've never heard that.
Antarang Bhakti. That's kind of Bahirang Bhakti.
I haven't. To my ears, it hasn't come.
Yes. Antarang is just like when you say.
I understand. Internal understanding, but the terminologies I'm not.
Okay, you're not familiar with that.
I haven't heard it referred to. I didn't hear Gurudev refer it to like that.
Okay.
I principally stay, if you want to know which camp I'm in Gurudev and Prabhupada. That is who I am, fully. I'm only there. I'm not in this one or that one or this one or this one, anything else. That's satisfying for me. So
But that's everything.
I appreciate so many other personalities, but my path is only, Gurudev has given such a wealth. I'll never unpack it all in one life, you know?
No.
But collectively we can unpack a lot of things. You should make study groups sometime. This is what I prefer myself to do the most, is because this Rasa Tattva is very tricky. It's not easy to appreciate or understand. I need people to read it with me. Like I study with Budara, Prakashatma, different people, and in Boston, also in New Zealand, we have a regular. Yeah, these people.
I'm missing out.
You have to explain that in order to understand the spiritual topics, you cannot understand it with your material mind and material intelligence. You need causeless mercy given by Guru to be able to understand the spiritual topics. So if you try to understand it with your material intelligence or mind, you will be baffled.
You can get somewhere. You can not give up completely, even if you don't have that Guru Nishta. Guru Nishta will come as a result of it, as a result of just, finding the courage to step into those topics. You need some intelligence just to appreciate.
Feed the mind.
Yeah, but it's actually become familiar with another language. Rasa Tattva is a whole other language of terminologies that we should become fluent with, and then we can go. But most of the time it's not discussed because it's not meant to be discussed. But it's Rag Marg, my conclusion is that it doesn't seem to be compatible to the general public.
Yes.
But the stronger devotees have to engage in this path just to keep their enthusiasm on the boil. If this vision, this horizon is not there, and you're just thinking of saving the conditioned souls all day, you're not going to be really getting the internal, anand entirely. Although by helping everyone, then that reciprocation will come from Krishna to enter into these topics. Remember this one sentence, I've said it twice already. Write it down. Bhakti Ras is the function of Krishna Bhakti when it's absolutely pure. When Krishna Bhakti is absolutely pure. So that's our goal.
Bhakti Ras is the function of Bhakti when it's absolutely pure.
Yes. Or they actually, he writes Krishna Bhakti.
Krishna Bhakti, okay.
When it's absolutely pure. Yeah. It's a great expression. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this directly.
And the goal that you have mentioned a lot of time.
26th chapter, Jaiva Dharma.
And Gurudev mentioned a lot of time that in order to perform your sadhana, the goal is Bhava Bhakti. If you don't know what your goal is, then it's all a waste.
Yeah. Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. Kleshagni, Shubhada. Moksha, Lukhata Krit, Sudurlabha. Sandrananda, Visheshatma, Sri Krishna, Kashani, Chasa. This is the definition of those three. Maybe tomorrow we can discuss this.
Oh, that would be great.
That's a nice topic. I like that topic very much. That's a big topic.
That's why
I love it. I like to tell all the pastimes and so on, but actually I also love this.
The science
of it, yeah. But the science of how we're going to get to the goal. I'm very... I can't be satisfied with just words. I have to have a living experience of this to go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to lose interest. If it's not really happening, we have to get the living experience. Action. Experience.
Speak louder than
Jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Prema Ras ki jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Radha Krishna ki jai, Sri Vrindavana Dhaam ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Radha Kund ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Gautama Dweep ki jai, Vaishnavas ki jai. At the end of the day, this relationship between Vaishnavas is the principal nourishing factor. If my relationships are harmonious, with the Vaishnavas, then Gurudev is pleased. Gurudev used to give you all the pats on the back, say no one ever quarrels in Holland. He used to say that when he used to come. And when I used to come, now it's got all these different camps and everything, but let's not talk about it.
Yes, I won't
We
go
will
into
just chant Hare Krishna.
It's
Be
not one
happy.
camp anyway.
Yeah,
There's only one.
actually it is.
Depends how you look at it.
I agree with you.
Well, the Mahamantra is the same, and Mahaprabhu is the same, and Gurudev is the same, so
Yeah.
it cannot be anything different.
Sri Tridandi Maharaja,
Vaishnavas ki
Jai.
jai, Vaishnava Vancha Kalpa Durubhi jai, Kripa Sindhu jai, Patitanam Bhavabhyo Vaishnava.
Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi
Jai.
Maharaja.
We didn't even really start the class properly, did we?
I know, I'm waiting.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
More formal. Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
so much for coming. How could we do anything? You turn this thing off now? No, it's too late. 5 to 10.